Welcome to the Beyond Ordinary Women podcast. Every 2 weeks, we post podcast versions of one of our free training videos, or you can access our videos now at beyondordinarywomen.org. Enjoy the podcast.
Hi, I'm Kelley Mathews, and we are with Beyond Ordinary Women. Welcome to our video. This is one in a series of Moms in Ministry, and I'm here with Sharifa Stevens, and we are going to talk about the challenge of being a mom and doing ministry at the same time.
Yeah, and I could tell you about that. Okay, like even just getting here today, I didn't dry my hair. I still have product in my hair, so if you see the product in my hair, I'm sorry. But like my kids, it was like an obstacle course of Legos that I jumped through to get into the shower, and I had to get into the shower, but I couldn't get in the shower any earlier because I had to wait for my mother-in-law to come, and then my husband is working on a project even though it's the weekend, and I'm just like, how is it that I started at 6 a.m.?
Oh my goodness.
But I'm still gonna be late.
And it's not 9 or anything.
Yes.
So I remember those days. You have younger children. I think we determined my youngest is the same age as your oldest. So I have been in those shoes.
Help me.
So yeah, I know, like you think I have it all together.
Yes.
No, goodness, being a mom in ministry, both. I mean, I guess it could be the same as any job, right? You know, how do you balance that? In, I guess, our culture, moms are kind of held up as that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
And then if you have ministry, that's on the side. I don't know if that's fair, but that's kind of the experience I've had.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that has helped me as a mom is to let go of the fear of missing out. So, for instance, I'm more of a writer, and so I don't do a lot of speaking. I do some, but when someone asks me, I feel like I have this need to say yes, because what if it never happens again? What if they never come back?
Right.
So I have to say yes to everything.
Right.
And that's wrong, because that's actually, I think, living out of fear. And we're not supposed to do that.
That's a good point. I'm still struggling with what is an opportunity from God and what is a good thing that I can say no to and let pass by. And I think that also we're going to be doing another video that talks about just the expectations that are on women, especially women who are moms and in ministry, and what that's supposed to look like. And those expectations are a burden. They are a weight sometimes. And what makes me weightless when those burdens become so overwhelming is the power of saying no. And I don't know about you, but no as a full, complete sentence is also something that I have been tacitly taught is a rude response to a question.
That's what you mean.
Right? And so I've had to take the word back for what it means. And no doesn't have to mean I reject you or your offer. No can mean I don't have the emotional, mental resources to do this.
The bandwidth, right.
Right.
Yeah. It could be time.
It could be time.
It could be emotional energy, physical energy. Those folks who are asking may never know what's really going on.
Right.
But our responsibility is to say, I know what's going on, and I'm relying, as the mom, and in my case, my husband we're a team, and saying, okay, what's best for our family? And both of us have a big role in that. So knowing what's good for the whole family. And I think moms struggle with that, especially if their children are home and young.
Especially then. And I think it takes a certain amount of self-awareness to be able to know what to say no to and what to say yes to.
So how do you know what to say yes to?
How do I know what to say yes to? Okay, so again, this is a process for me, Kelley. But yes looks like, well, I can't say yes to, or shouldn't. I can, but I shouldn't say yes to the things that I haven't put before the Lord.
Okay.
So prayer is a part of saying yes. Also, for me, I find that saying yes also involves the slightly scary challenge that is also in line with how God made me and equipped us as a family.
Even though it might make you nervous.
Yeah, even though it feels like it's above like what I'm able, like my skill set. But yeses for me happen when it's something that's in line with how God's gifted me. It's something that in prayer I don't hear a hard no or a closed door. It's something that the community around me affirms, right? And it's something that the people in my family who are old enough to know
Yeah.
Also affirm.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does. It reminds me of last spring. Like I said, I'm mostly a writer, but I do have speaking opportunities. Mostly I've had experience in small groups, leading Bible studies. So if I'm lecturing, we're talking 10 minutes, it's super informal, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I would go to that.
Then, well, you're welcome, but you could come teach it with me. So then I got invited to speak at a retreat, and that's 3 actual talks, formal, prepared, the whole shebang. And last time I did that 12 years ago, right? So this was like starting all over again. I was brand new and I was scared to death, but at the same time thinking, how do I say no? Or should I say no? How do I say yes? Right, so I went through the whole questioning. Of course, I was afraid, and then I knew enough to go, well, that's a stupid reason. Okay, but I'm still afraid. So I talked to people. Of course, none of them told me to say no.
Really?
Except my children, because they don't want me to be gone. So there's that to weigh against. And is that a valid reason? In my case, it wasn't. So those were the challenges, but it reminded me of what you said. Am I going out of fear? Am I, do people say, affirm it? Is it in my skill set? Is it slightly scary? All of that was a yes.
Yes.
So I did it.
So how'd it go?
I don't know, pretty well. I think it went fine, but don't ask me, ask them. But it was a great experience for me because I could tell, I'm stepping out of my comfort zone and I needed to. But not every situation is going to be that easy for me to say yes, because really the negatives were all kind of invalid and everything was pointing to that.
Well, conversely, just as a last question, how do you know when to say no?
How do I know when to say no? If it's not according to the purpose that God has shaped me, for instance, I know my strengths and weaknesses, and I know theologically where I stand, and I know what I'm skilled at and what I've been trained in. And if something were to come in from outside of that, I'm sure I would have a hesitation in my spirit, for one thing, and not just because I'm afraid of a crowd or something like that. That wouldn't be it. So I would weigh those things. Again, prayer, that kind of thing. So it's going to be situational, I think.
Right.
Everything. There's no pat answer.
Right.
When to say no and when to say yes.
Wouldn't that make things easier?
Sorry, we're not going to help you with that.
No. I'm still figuring it out. So that's why I asked you the question, because I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
And one of the chief signs for me to say no is when I feel like I'm running on empty. And sometimes that emptiness is because I need to get back in touch with the Lord when I'm working out of my own energy.
Yeah.
And I'm not working out of the overflow of abiding in Jesus.
Yeah. And motivation, I think. Why would I say yes? To feed my ego? Right. Okay.
Right.
Same page here.
Right.
Well, there's a lot more we could say about this. But I'm going to close it. We're going to talk on a few other topics in the next few videos. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
You can find this video and our bios on the website, beyondordinarywomen.org. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Beyond Ordinary Women podcast. You can find more podcasts and information about women in leadership by going to beyondordinarywomen.org. This podcast was produced by Beyond Ordinary Women Ministries. Our production team includes Evelyn Babcock, Kay Daigle, Kay Halligan, Deborah Herring, Sharifa Stevens, and John Sparks. Theme music, Back in Stride by Don Miller, used by courtesy of Christine Miller.